good. Yeah, we'll just get on the road. First of all, I would just like to warmly welcome you all here to the launch of Michael's book, A Week of Open Path. On behalf of Michael, I know he's very grateful for everyone making the effort to be here today. It's a Thursday evening and everyone is busy with their own things, work, jobs, children, whatnot. And I know it means the world to Michael that you're all here on this Thursday, so thank you so much for making the effort to support Michael and the So Michael has asked me just to don't be shy with the food and make sure all the food is gone by the end of the night. The reason for that is that Michael doesn't want to do any cleanup. So make sure that you have all the food gone. And also there's some people that you won't know here tonight, so feel free just to use tonight as a social occasion. Get to know people, introduce yourself to other people. Yeah, these all seem like a nice bunch of people, so you can use tonight as a social occasion. I know not everyone would have known Uncle Pat, and I would just like to take a few moments really just to acknowledge Uncle Pat, because he's the reason why we're all here tonight, and Uncle Pat is the inspiration really for the book. And I think if Uncle Pat would have known that Michael would have went on and written a book about him, first, he probably would have turned around in his grave, but secondly, I'm sure he'd be so proud of his nephew, Michael, for writing the book. So I guess the first toast, a round of applause, goes to Uncle Pat. I would like to introduce in a few seconds a good friend of Michael, Shay Phelan. Shay Phelan is going to read chapter 2. That you can all read yourselves after he's buying 10 copies each of the book. I don't want to feel I'm getting blackmailed, but Michael has promised Caroline a private suite in the Ritz-Carlton. So no pressure. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Shay Phelan.
Hello. It's good to be here. I'm picking up on chapter 2. It's a chapter called Good Morning, Pat. And the subtitle is A New Day, A New Beginning. And Pat, of course, has arrived late in the night, the previous night, unexpected. Michael has already had a bit of an ordeal getting him to bed and all of that. And then finally, it seems as if everything is planned and organised for the following morning. Anyway, as you've already discovered, I didn't exactly have the world's greatest sleep the night before. I therefore decided to stay in bed a bit longer than planned. In my mind, it would take about 45 minutes to get Pat ready, which meant he'd be washed, shaved, fed, and dressed by around 8:15 a.m. This would leave me plenty of time to get to work on my bike. After calling him to get up, I soon realised he wasn't a morning person. Good morning, Uncle Pat. Without as much as a dicky bird muttered in reply, he tutted to himself and pressed the button on his talking watch. The time is now 7:30 a.m. Ah, for flippin' sake, what did you call me so late for? It's 7:30. Growled at me. Sorry, I said, grimacing. Talk about getting a veritable bucket of water thrown into your face. I told you to call me at 7, didn't I? I know, but I thought it would be. This is not right, he interrupted. What are you playing at? I'm not playing at anything. Well, get me out of this bed then and bring me downstairs. We'll be grand, Pat. I've plenty of time. Sure, you said it would take less than an hour to get you ready, didn't you? I know what I said. But you left it too late. You should have called me when I asked you. I'll get you up now, Pat. Come on. Which way can I help you get out of bed? Well, get that bucket out of here for starters. You can guess what he had done. I don't want to put me foot in that thing now, do I? You and me both, I answered, as I quickly emptied it and returned to help him down the stairs. Standing on the landing now, he let out a deep sigh. Take me down slowly, don't push me. Those stairs are death trap. Holding his thin and frail, outstretched arms, I answered softly, I won't, Pat, I have you. In fairness, he was right. Over the years, I've heard that terrible thumping noise, which meant only one thing. An unfortunate family member, usually my father with a hangover, was plummeting down those stairs on his backside. Sadly, we've all been christened with bumps and bruises from those dodgy steps. Come on, Pat, don't worry, follow my lead, I said, looking up at his anxious face. Tapping his foot on the spot, he answered, be careful, don't drag me, please. I won't. Now move your foot forward and I'll slowly direct you down each room. Ah, stop it, Michael, you're pulling me down the stairs. I'm not pulling you, I haven't moved an inch. Yeah! I said, sounding petrified. I'm only holding her arms. Now, will you come on? I've been working just over an hour. I'll fall, you blooming idiot! Relax, I said, and I started to giggle. Oh, I know they're awkward, but you haven't moved yet. Stop laughing at me, you! He rolled back. I'm not laughing at you, I have the giggles. It's not flippin' funny. I'm an old man. You wouldn't be tittering if you were blind. I'm sorry, Pat, I'm only trying to help you. Just lift your foot down onto the lower step, please. I have you. All right. But go slowly. That's it. You're motoring now. Only a few more to go, I said. Now, it's hard enough for someone with 20/20 vision coming down those steps. Never mind when you can't see a thing in front of you. And I'm not talking about my uncle either. I was the one risking life and death walking backwards down each step while trying to guide him. That said, the poor man looked terrified. You'd swear he was standing on the edge of Mount Everest with a howling wind swirling behind him. Once down the mountain, I led him into the kitchen. Slow down, you're going too fast for me. Where are you taking me anyway? Into the kitchen. For what? To get you ready. Unfortunately, my bathroom was too small for both of us to fit in, so I had to get him ready in the kitchen. Just bring me over to the edge of the table then. Here we are, Pat, I said, as I let his arms go and glanced over at the clock. I'm falling, Michael! Grab me quick, you flippin' idiot! He was shuffling. He looked like someone shuffling backwards on ice. Oh, I'm sorry, Pat, I gasped, clutching his cold hands. I thought you were steady on your feet when I let you go. Well, I wasn't, he spat back. And don't you ever do that again, you would have killed me, you flippin' fecker. There's no need for that, I said, starting to giggle again. I said I was sorry. Sorry, that's no use if I break me flippin' neck, is it? And don't be laughing at me either. I didn't mean to laugh, sorry. Stop saying sorry, you're still sniffing. I can hear you. I can't help it, Pat. I don't know whether it's my nerves, but once someone tells me not to laugh, I laugh. Ah, this is not going to work. I'll have to look for somewhere else to stay. Be my best, I thought. However, always the peacemaker, I said. Look, Pat, you'll be grand. Are you okay now? I suppose. But don't be twerking me, you. I won't, I promise. Anyway, I'll get that basin of water for you. Go on, then. What are you telling me for? Just do it. There's no need to be so cheeky, I said, shaking my head. Go on, get the basin and don't be annoying me anymore, he said. After heating the water for a few minutes, I placed the basin back on the table. There you go, Pat. It's right beside you now. He then slowly lowered his hands into the basin of water before letting out a mighty roar. Ah, that's boils too hot! Are you trying to scald the life out of me? Pat, I thought to myself, it's my first time getting you ready, and the way I'm feeling now, it might be your last. Sorry, I didn't realise it was that hot. I started to sigh, waving my fist at his chin. Bringing the basin back over to the sink again, I poured some more cold water into it before placing it back on the table. Taking a deep breath. There you go, that should be all right now. Ah, you're useless. Now hang on, don't speak to me like that. But don't leave it there then. Bring it closer to me, he snarled while pointing and slamming his finger down to the exact spot. There, I said, just there. There's no need to be so aggressive, I answered, whilst moving the basin an inch forward. I actually felt like throwing it over him. Ah, you can't do anything right. What are you talking about? I've just put it back where you said. You're a very cheeky man. I would just stop you, give an aspirin a headache. Now, will you get the razor from me and put it there, please? He asked, raising his finger by the side of the basin again. All right, Pat, I've put it there now beside your right arm. Is that okay? No, that's not where I told you. I said there, beside the edge. I literally had only put it 1 centimetre away from where he pointed. I've just invited the grumpiest man on the planet into my home. I thought, didn't say. I didn't sign up for this. Talk about ungrateful. You'd swear I was his personal butler, earning millions for this abuse. Okay, Pat, I said, shaking my head and biting my fist. There it is. I put it back exactly where you wanted it. Ah, he snapped. Why is it wet? I never use a wet razor. Dry it now, you. Is this actually happening? I thought. Maybe there's a hidden camera somewhere in the kitchen. I was half expecting Jeremy Beadle to walk through the door with a microphone. Will you calm down? I didn't know it was wet, did I? Could you not feel it? Anyway, just dry it, you. I haven't got all day. I was seriously contemplating walking out that door. Oh, dear Lord, give me patience. It took nearly an hour to wash and shave, and we didn't have time for breakfast. With every passing second, my stress levels were skyrocketing. Pat, I have to go shortly. It's nearly 8:30. I'm in school at 9. I had no idea it would take this long to get him ready. When I looked over at the clock, time seemed to be racing ahead of me. As 8:35 a.m. suddenly turned to 8:45 a.m. Pat, I have to go. I'm already going to be late, and it's only my second day working there. Now, will you please come on? I know that, he shouted aggressively. You've told me loads of times. You should have called me at 7. That's what time I told you to wake me. Please, I said, moving my hands towards his neck. It's your fault, Michael. I know I should have called you earlier, but will you please just hurry up? I hate being late. What time is it anyway? He barked back. It's nearly 10 to 9 and it takes about 20 minutes to cycle there. Ah, forget about that. You'll never make it anyway. I will, Pat. Now come on, hurry up. The amount of time he spent grooming himself, you'd think he was 18 again. Your teeth are lovely, Pat, white as snow. Now will you please come on? If you brush them any more, there'll be nothing left of them. No, I'm not ready yet, he said, spitting the toothpaste into the basin. I have to brush them properly, you. I'm going to kill him, I thought. He's doing this on purpose. How many years would I get for manslaughter? I'll plead insanity. I'll be out in 5 for good behaviour. I'm not lying anyway. He's driven me mad all morning. Luckily enough, for my uncle, he soon finished brushing his pearly whites, but not before ordering me to get rid of his spit out of the basin so he could wash his face. Thankfully, it was time to get him dressed and out the door as quickly as possible. Underwear was first, which, thank God, he put on himself. Next came his vest, swiftly followed by his shirt, jumper, and trousers. Then came his socks, shoes, and jacket, and finally, last, but by no means least, his white cane. We were now ready to go, thank God. Glancing down at my watch, it was 8:58 a.m. I knew I could not get to school until at least 9:20 now. I was stressed and worried, and all I could think about were the students, whom I knew would be waiting for me outside the gym. To make matters worse, I had the only spare set of keys to the gym hall. The absentee PE teacher, whom I was meant to be covering, had the other set. In other words, within 5 minutes, the vice principal's office, there would be 25 students outside the vice principal's office, letting him know I wasn't in. While all this was flying through my mind, I escorted Pat to the front door. If things weren't bad enough, he suddenly started to quiz me about his dilemma. Where am I going to go now, Michael? And what am I going to do for the next few hours? I can't be on my own. Oh dear God, tell me this is Pat, now listen to me. We spoke about this last night and you said you'd be grand in the morning once I got you ready. Now what's all this about? I know what I said. Well, where am I going to go, Michael? What? I roared back, scratching my head in exasperation. Don't be shouting at me, you! I can't go anywhere on my own. The pubs don't open till about 10:30. Why are you only telling me this now? Because I only thought of it, he shot back, sounding like a stroppy teenager. Oh, give me strength, Lord, not to strangle him. Pat, I'm meant to be at work in 1 minute. Well, I can't stay here. What if I fall over and bang me head? I'll be on the ground for hours on my own. Glancing down at my watch again, I shouted out, Pat, last night I told you about my neighbour Patsy. She said she would come into you every hour while I was gone, and you said, that's grand. That's grand, Michael, didn't you? So what are you playing at now? I know we did, he muttered back, but I don't know her, and she wouldn't be able to bring me for the piddle if I needed to go. She would. She looked after her sick mother for years. Stop shouting at me, you! I don't want to be here for 5 lousy hours on my own! Look, I've no time for all this. I'm frantically told. I have to be in class. I told you all this last night. Now just come on, let's go. Ask someone else to mind me, will you? Who? I can't get anyone else to stay with you for 5 hours. After quickly opening my front door, I brought my bike outside and then rushed over and helped Pat from his chair to the door. Where am I going, Michael? Where are you taking me? Was all I could hear as I shoved and then walked him outside. I don't know, I'll think of something. Now just come on. As I stood outside, holding my bike with one hand and Pat with the other, I looked up to the heavens and thought, how did I get myself into this mess? If that wasn't bad enough, I found it next to impossible to hold Pat and wheel my bike at the same time. We nearly fell over twice, making our way to the top of my street. All this while, his nagging intensified to new heights. What are you doing, Michael? Are you trying to kill me? Where are we going anyway? You can't leave me here on my own. I know, I replied sternly. Who said I was leaving you here anyway? You did. I didn't. Now, will you please just give me a minute to think? At that precise moment, I said a little prayer in my mind. Oh, dear God, help me. What am I going to do with him? Please, Lord, help me to do the right thing. In Jesus' name, amen. Oblivious to my anguish, he continued to berate me. Read that bloody school and tell them you're sick or something. No, I'm not sick. They won't ask me back again if I do, so just come on. My head was racing. A million different thoughts were flying around my mind. Will I put him in a taxi? Yeah, maybe, but where will the taxi bring him? He said his sister-in-law, Sissy, he said she's gone out. I didn't know what to do. I was panicking and I don't deal well with pressure. Could I bring him to the school with me? No chance. Could you imagine that scenario? How are you, lads? This is my 78-year-old blind uncle from Birmingham, He'll be joining us for PE today. He doesn't look it, but he's a great shot stopper. Meanwhile, Pat's emotional blackmail was unrelenting. What are you going to do with me, Michael? I don't know, Pat. I'm thinking, please, Michael, I don't know my way around this area. Don't leave me here on my own. What if a bus or truck hits me? That could be the end of me. The way I was feeling, I'd drive the truck. If he was trying to make me feel guilty, it was working a treat. I knew if I left him on the streets, anything could happen to him. The North Strand was only around the corner, and it's one of the busiest roads in Dublin for traffic. To be honest, I couldn't think straight, but the thought of him getting knocked down or just wandering around on his own left me feeling overwhelmed. This was all happening in the space of about 2 minutes after we had left the house. I knew if I didn't go to school, I'd probably never teach in St. David's again. It wasn't like I had schools knocking on my door all summer. If anything, my teaching prospects were flatlining, and this opportunity was a lifeline. Put simply, I was at a crossroads, and if ever a song lyric summed up how I felt, it was this one by The Clash. Should I stay or should I go now? If I go, there will be trouble. And if I stay, there will be trouble. Considering everything, I decided I couldn't leave him on his own, no matter what the consequences to my teaching career. If anything happened to him, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Thus, I decided to call the school and tell them exactly what had happened. Therefore, with a somber acceptance of my fate, I slowly turned around from the top of my avenue and made my way home with Uncle Pat on my bike. "Where are we going, Michael?" Pat asked, sounding a little triumphant, as his internal compass suddenly started working. "Back to my house. I'm not going into school today." Within seconds of uttering those words, my neighbour Gary opened his front door and asked, "Is everything all right, Michael?" He later told me he'd seen the whole fiasco from his sitting room window. "No, Gary, it's not," I said frankly. "I'm having a morning from hell. Would you mind if I use your phone, please? I've no credit on my mobile and I have to ring the school." "Of course, come in, that's no problem." Entering his house, I promptly briefed Gary on the morning events. He then guided both of us into his sitting room before winking over at me for a quiet word on the side. "Mick, what are you going to tell the school? You can't tell them the truth. Tell them that Caroline's appendix burst during the lecture. And she's very sick in the hospital. But whatever you do, don't tell them the truth. They won't believe a word of it." Oh, I knew Gary meant well, but I've never been one for lying. I've learned the hard way that honesty is the best policy. That said, it did cross my mind for a split second. Then, with a deep inhalation of breath, I picked up the phone and rang the vice principal. You'll have to read chapter 3 to find out.
I think for me, the most kind of scary thing, I actually thought there was a pat up here, like you went straight to it, like I honestly said. So I'd actually just like to introduce myself. My name is Sean. I'm a good friend of Michael. I met Michael back in 2008 when we were both first year students in All Hallows. I was 19, Michael was 35, going on 60. When I first met Michael, I realised immediately he had this amazing talent. So skillfully, he could bring God into every single conversation. Like, we'd be talking about like the match at the weekend, And then out of nowhere, Michael will just steer the conversation into the conception of God and the fallacy of the Big Bang Theory. I don't know how he did it, but so Michael, he did speak a lot about God, and his faith is very dear to Michael. He also spoke a lot about two other people that are very dear to Michael, and that's his daughter Layla and his wife Caroline. And I think they deserve a round of applause as well. Not only for putting up with Michael. But just for supporting Michael through his journey of becoming an author, because Michael started writing the book back in 2014, so and I know he's supported Michael through it all. I remember the first time in All Hallows back in first year, when Michael came up to me, and we had to write our first essay. And Michael came up to me and he said, like, Sean, I've never wrote, this is a book launch. Never wrote, I'll get the grammar right. I've never wrote an essay before, and I don't know if I can do it. And I was like, you'll be grand, Michael, don't worry about it. And I just think it's a great achievement that Michael went from not being able to write a 1,000-word essay to going on and writing a book and publishing a book. And I think, Michael, that shouldn't go unnoticed, and you should be proud of that. I'm not going to go on a lot about Michael. I do have plenty of stories, but I guess one of my favourite stories about Michael in college is he, as you all know, his communication skills is very good. And we were on the student union back in All Hallows. And as part of the student union, you had to sell tickets to the college ball. And it was really hard to do that because All Hallows, there were a lot of, mature students. It wasn't a party college, so it was very hard to sell the tickets to the college ball. But when we were on the student union and when Michael was on it, it was a sellout. And the reason why it was a sellout is because Michael would go up to every single person in the college dining hall. He'd have a conversation with them, and by the end of the conversation, he'd convince them to go to the college ball. So Michael, if the book doesn't go well, there's a position for you to fall away from. I first read the book, Michael's book, back in 2014, and it'd kind of go like this. Michael would call me, Sean, I just wrote a chapter, would you mind reading it? So I would read the chapter and yeah, that's good, and send it back to him, and I would think, oh, we won't hear from Michael for another few months. A few days later, Sean, I've got another chapter, would you mind reading it? Oh yeah, grand, so I'd read it. And this kind of went on, and it got to the stage where I was just looking forward to getting the email from Michael where he'd send on the chapter. And it was great seeing Michael progress as an author and just literally going from scratch. And the fact that we have a book here and launching the book after years later, it's great to see. And Michael had to go through his own personal battles as well, as some of you know. Michael overcame and he succeeded in his battle against cancer. And I was thinking, having to defeat cancer and to write a book, it's almost like an analogy, because when you write a book, you have to have perseverance, resilience, courage, dedication. You have to write when you don't want to write, and you have to do things when you have cancer that you mightn't want to do. And I just think overcoming that is a great testament to you. So I just really want to say, Michael, thanks for being a great friend over the years. If anyone deserves to be a bestseller, it's you. I really do hope that the book is a success, and even if this is it, even if it's tonight and we sell a few copies, it's still a massive success. So yeah, I'd just like to, a round of applause for Michael. Yeah, So now what we're going to do is, Michael's going to come up and he's just going to say a few words.
Okay. I'm on fire, man.
First of all, from the bottom of my heart, I want to just thank everybody for coming. I can see a lot of people that I know over the years, a lot of people that that I met, some very old friends, some new friends. See some students here, some teachers here, and some neighbours, and family members, and everybody else that came along tonight. I wasn't expecting this, and I want to just thank every single one of you for coming tonight. So give yourselves a round of applause, please. The first person I want to thank is God and my Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ, who makes everything possible. And I also want to thank, along the way there was individuals who helped me in writing. There was, as Sean said, I remember that time in 2008 where I couldn't put an essay together. I literally couldn't put an essay together. And I remember, wrapping up pieces of paper and just throwing them in the bin, thinking, what am I trying to do here? I can't wait. I didn't have a leaving cert. I didn't have a junior cert. To be honest with you, I was the master of failing things. And I didn't have belief. But something happened in college. Once again, it was a moment of prayer, and I asked God to help me, and God always shows up when you ask Him in your time of need. So I haven't really, I didn't write on for tonight. I'm just up here speaking from the heart, and I thank Uncle Pat, because Uncle Pat really, he was a person that, if truth be known, people avoided, people kept away from, people ran a mile from him. Because he was probably the grumpiest person that ever lived, to be honest with you. But he was also one of the most kindest persons that ever walked home as well. I remember one time where there's a chapter in the book called, I should know the chapter, shouldn't I? But anyway, there's a chapter in the book. It's about a hotel. And I was speaking to the hotel manager, and he was talking about Pat and what Pat was like. And he said, Michael, there was once a time where Pat asked the waiter to bring him to the toilet, and after he went to the toilet, he brought him down, and Pat gave him €50 to bring him to the toilet. There was not many people I know that would do that. On that occasion, he gave someone else €50 for going to the chauffeur from the hotel. So he had a very hard exterior, but inside, he was soft, and he just really wanted to be loved, like most of us. That's all he wanted. I'm sure if he was around today, he passed away in 2017, I'm sure he'd be delighted, that there's a book written about him, and that his life had meaning to it, And so if he's up there now, I say thank you, Pat. I mean, he definitely gave me something that I never thought I could do. So, folks, all I want to say is to each and every one of you once again, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for taking, this is a Thursday evening, as Sean rightly said, people are busy, people have lives. There's stuff going on in people's lives. I was talking to a person today that he was telling me that one of his aunties is on a life support machine, something else happened. So I really can't thank you enough. And from the bottom of my heart, yes, thank you everybody.
We're almost there. What we're just going to do now for just a few minutes, we're just going to have a short Q&A. So maybe if anyone would like to just ask Michael just some questions about the book, his experience, and his journey from writing the book. It'll only be a few minutes, so if somebody has any.
I don't want to ask. The first question I want to know is why was he in your house in the first place? Why was he there?
Jackie, I don't want to ruin the book.